National COVID-19 Taskforce concerned about citizens' dismissive attitude towards the novel coronavirus, and DG Harmon says calls for sanctions are anti-national. It's Thursday, March 26, 2020. Here's what's happening. The National COVID-19 Task Force is concerned about the dismissive attitude of citizens towards the novel coronavirus disease.
While Guyanese are being applauded for heeding public advisories to adjust social behavior in combating the spread of COVID-19, the National COVID-19 Task Force, NCTF, remains seriously concerned that too many citizens and businesses have been ignoring these very warnings. Via media release, the task force said in spite of public advisories and warnings, persons and some businesses have been going about their daily activities as per normal and operating in a business as usual manner. The NCTF warns that such a cavalier approach by some citizens can seriously impair the efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 and have a devastating impact on the Guyanese populace. The task force said it will be both monitoring the conduct of the citizenry and considering various measures. These include extreme measures which have been instituted in other countries to impose restrictions on the movement of persons for a defined period until the threat is abated. In an update on Wednesday, Prime Minister Honorable Moses Nagamutu, who is chairman of the National COVID-19 Task Force, hosted multiple virtual planning meetings to continue the coordination of the works of the task force as Guyana intensifies efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. His Excellency President David Granger and ministers of government were on Tuesday updated on the work of the NCTF. Several measures were also proposed and discussed. Additionally, a menu of physical measures was approved, and the Minister of Finance, Honorable Winston Jordan, who has given the Guyana Revenue Authority the task of making the requisite public announcements. Prime Minister Nagamutu also commended Minister of Public Health, Honorable Valdo Lawrence, and the Health Emergency Operations Center, HEOC, for the work they have done to date in containing the spread of COVID-19. Neola Damon, InfoHub.
As the government continues against safeguarding against the virus, Minister of Public Health, the Honorable Valdo Lawrence, today provided an update on the efforts by health officials and other personnel.
Let me clarify that persons in quarantine are those persons who have been exposed but are not sick. Persons in isolation are those persons who would have been exposed and have tested positive and showing signs and symptoms. We have a number of persons quarantined by the Ministry of Public Health. Under institutional quarantine, there are 31 persons, while the number of persons on home quarantine is 135 persons. There are 4 persons in institutional isolation by the Ministry of Public Health. I wish to dispel fears with regards to the reports of a positive case being in Region 9. This is not a case for Guyana. The individual in question did not visit Guyana for the last 2 weeks prior to his confirmed status or after it was discovered. We are aware that his relative who operates a business in Letem is under quarantine in Brazil, not Guyana. I repeat, not Guyana.
Still on COVID-19, the Director General of the Civil Defense Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, provided an update on the quarantine facilities available to accommodate persons suspected of having the virus.
Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig noted that the Civil Defense Commission has partnered with the Ministry of Public Health in efforts to reduce and prevent the impact of the novel coronavirus.
And there's also 2 forms of isolation and 2 forms of quarantine. There is home isolation and institutional isolation, and there is home quarantine and institutional quarantine. The Civil Defense Commission will be working with the Ministry of Health to ensure that these facilities are set up, to ensure that there's adequate supplies of food, sanitation items, so that anyone that is in those facilities would have the basic necessity to live.
Craig further explained the on-site procedures, including detailed screening upon arrival at the facilities.
In the quarantine facility, you have separate areas. You have areas for persons with symptoms and for persons that are showing symptoms. If you're showing symptoms that are in keeping with COVID-19, you'll be tested. And once you've tested and it's positive, you will move from those facilities and taken to an isolation facility.
The Civil Defense Commission has implemented a system whereby family members of the patients can provide food and other items. It is advised that said items are boxed and labeled. These items can be delivered to the Civil Defense Commission's compound in Thomas Lands. For directions, one may call 600 7500 226 1114 or 226 1117. Lieutenant Craig concluded by urging Guyanese to take all precautions, including social distancing, in the fight against COVID-19.
What I want to encourage friends and family Guyanese to let you know that this is a very serious virus we're dealing with. And it can significantly impact the country. And we need to be very serious in terms of our actions and our attitude.
For InfoHub, Gavin Lewis.
Let's now take a look at some other news. The Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, today said the calls for sanctions by opposition parties is nothing short of anti-national and should be condemned.
With the vast transformation already made so far in Guyana, the Director General said it is unfortunate that the political opposition can make such calls. He said there is a narrative being peddled by the opposition that has affected the way in which Guyana and the current government are perceived.
Sanctions is something that we have to be concerned about in this country because it can affect the development of the country. It can stymie that development. And therefore, anyone who feels that sanctions will only affect one group of persons, they are probably not thinking well, because once Guyana is affected, we all are affected.
Following March 2nd's polls, the opposition has been crying foul over the legitimacy of the elections. Its encouragement of international sanctions had since been increasing. Harmon said sanctions are not something to play around with. He said the government will do as much as it can to address that call.
We as a government, we have taken certain steps, as is our right, to correct that narrative which is out there. So we have taken steps to correct that narrative. But as I said, sanctions is not something that we want to even contemplate. But then I heard last night the opposition gathered the other smaller parties, and they are now contemplating a letter signed to send to the ABCE countries to say, okay, well, we want this sanction, bring along the sanction. That's very anti-national. And I don't see any country in the world that actually would want to invite that level of sanction on its country, knowing fully well the developmental path on which we are.
He encouraged all the parties to work out a plan that will benefit all of Guyana, since according to him, sanctions are not the way. Neil Damon, InfoHub.
Now for some news coming out of the Guyana Elections Commission. The Commission has been made aware of a WhatsApp message circulating which states that GCom is now restricting party agents from moving around containers to ensure they are safe and have not been compromised. GCom has made it clear that in accordance with Section 141 of the Representation of the People's Act, the law does not contemplate party agents as a key stakeholder in the security of ballot boxes once placed in the custody of GCom. The Commission has further clarified that there is an administrative arrangement put in place prior to the 2020 elections for all contesting political parties to place a padlock on each container with ballot boxes. However, it noted that only two of the main contesting political parties, the APNU-AFC and the PPPC, had placed chains and padlocks on each container in the custody of GCom. Further, as of Thursday, March 25, 2020, GCom urged political parties to desist from taking photographs and videos of its staff conducting routine operations. This decision was taken as GCom recognized that the presence of party agents compromises safety and security of the GCom staff and its compound. In light of this, GCom has asked that party agents observe the Commission's security protocol and desist from peddling misinformation. When the news returns, we share with you the importance of staying away from group activities as we work together to stop the spread of COVID-19. More after the break. Thanks for staying with us. To prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus or COVID-19, which has already affected 5 persons here in Guyana, the public is advised to abstain from group activities, no matter how harmless they may seem.
An early study revealed that up to 30% of the coronavirus cases may be asymptomatic, which means persons may have the virus but show no signs of it. It is for this reason and the fact that COVID-19 is highly contagious that scientists and health officials have advised against large gatherings in various spaces. These include, but are not limited to bars, restaurants, gyms, seawalls, and other hangout locations. You can spread COVID-19 even if you feel healthy, and that can in turn greatly affect someone else, particularly a person with a compromised immune system. This lack of social gathering and isolation is what is termed as social distancing. For the well-being of our families, friends, neighbors, and by extension the nation, everyone is urged to stop engaging in activities that can put their health and that of others at risk. Viruses are small and cannot be seen with the naked eye. As we wash our hands and sanitize our surroundings, let us remain committed to the advice of health experts and stay away from public gatherings. Stopping the spread of COVID-19 is everyone's business. It's time everyone does their part. For InfoHub, Gavin Lewis.
Meantime, boat operators who ply the route between Parika and Supernam have agreed to enforce social distancing on their vessels.
As a safety concern, we all know the COVID-19 pandemic that is going on, so we're trying to reduce the amount of passengers that the vessel carry.
That was boat captain Joseph Mendez, who has some 20 years' experience. The captain told InfoHub the carrying capacity of the 5-seater boats will be limited to 14 passengers, and the 6-seater vessels, a limit of 17 passengers will be imposed. These safety measures will take effect as of Friday, March 27, 2020, and will continue until further notice. Meanwhile, Director General of the Maritime Administration Department, Claudette Rogers, distributed cleaning supplies and flyers detailing good hygiene measures to boating operators at the Parika Stelling on Thursday.
The administration, no doubt, would have given attention to international ships and international merchant vessels. And so we thought that vessels that are operating within our coastal and internal waters equally deserve this kind of attention. We thought about the operators, we thought about the passengers, and the crew as well.
The Director General outlined one of the key pieces of advice printed on each flyer.
Our flyer clearly states that the foolish man learns from his mistakes, and the wise man learns from the mistakes of others. We said it is your life, it is your health, it is the lives of your family and friends. And so we were asking them to keep your social distance. Listen to and act in accordance with the advisory from the Ministry of Public Health. We said stay healthy or face the consequences.
While applauding the Supernam operators for reducing their boat's passenger capacity, Director General Rogers expressed hope that common sense prevails with Bartica speedboat operators taking a similar move. And that's all for today. Connect with us on all of our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, as we bring to you the latest and important news related to COVID-19 and much more. Also subscribe to our website at dpi.gov.gy. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Stay safe, do your part to ensure you do not put yourself at risk during this time. And if it is extremely necessary to be on the road, remember to practice social distancing. Goodbye for now.